I can't walk in these shoes and I've lost my petticoat. I don't know where it's gone. It's okay, my husband said he'll get it out for me later. Bravo tonight, running a helicopter. Flying a helicopter is like running a business. When you sit in a helicopter with the blades running, it takes about 30% of power, and I reckon that's what it takes to come up with a business idea. And we've all had them. I've had business ideas I know that would never fly. But if you're not flying, you're not going anywhere, you're not really running a business. When you get into a helicopter, and if you're sitting at the hover with the blades going, you've got about 30% torque on the engine, and the engine puts out about 450 horsepower. So if you're going to go to the hover, you've actually got to increase power, and that's if you want to get your business off the ground. You've got to do the planning, you've got to get the money, and for the helicopter, you've got to put the fuel in the thing because it doesn't fly with a dry tank. You've got to put the planning in, you've got to know where the weather is, and blah, blah, blah. Put the gear on, you can't fly in these, I can tell you. You can't walk in the mitre, but that's okay. When you go to the hover in the helicopter, you need about 85% power, and that engine's only 70 kilos, but it lifts a helicopter worth 1.5 tons, and that's the power of what you are as people. You come up with a dream, and it's that passion and that determination that gives you that extra horsepower to actually take that helicopter from the ground to the hover. But you know what? You're not going anywhere. If you're in the hover, you think you're flying. The helicopter knows it's not flying. It's just kind of sitting there, and if you're crappy, you're kind of all over the place. If you've got it together, you're kind of looking cool. So the next step is from 85% to 100%, which is all the engine can put out. It does have this thing called a transient, but we won't go into that tonight. And that's just that touch over 100 when you're not quite on your game, and you just need to go from 85 to 100 is only 15%. But it's the 15% that makes the difference between a winner and an also-ran. It's the difference between hovering and flying. And when you pull that 15% and you tip that cyclic forward, you change the disc, the rotor disc, the air bites, and there's aerodynamic changes that take that helicopter through what we call translational lift. And if you've ever flown in a helicopter, there's that kind of shuddering feeling as you go from the hover into forward flight, and the same when you transition back into the hover. And that's the helicopter telling you that, I hope we're going to make it, I hope we've got enough power to go from hover, and it depends how skinny the people in the back are, how much fuel you've got on board, because it depends how far you're going, and it depends just how much, you've just got to have a bit of finesse, gentlemen. When you go full power, you've just got to have a bit of finesse. It's the same in the helicopter, I'm telling you. So when you go from 85% to 100%, and you go through translational lift, it's about 15 knots, and then you are flying. And it's the same in business. And it takes skill, and it takes determination, and it takes a lot of passion and a lot of study. But you know, unless you've actually flown, you will never know the risk, you'll never know the heartache, and you'll never know the vista that you see when you're flying, because tonight belongs to you. Bravo, you are the winners. From pilots, and I'm loving tonight, we got surfing chicks, we got beer brewing chicks, flying chicks. I can't wait for the rest of the night. This is one thing we say to pilots, we say it all the time. It's aviate, navigate, and communicate. Bravo, Telstra. You're the great communicators, and thank you for the awards. Good night.